and welcome to Truth or Politics. I'm your host, Darlene Price, and tonight we have our final debate in the debate series, basically an interview of our midterm candidate running for state representative. Before we get started, we want to thank everybody for making this debate series happen. First, we want to thank Steve Hall and the folks at MBRTV, Dave behind the camera. We want to thank our technical guy, all things technical, Michael Mann, that makes... Without him, Truth or Politics wouldn't exist because, I barely can work this stupid thing. And everybody else behind the scenes at Truth or Politics that make us happen. And we also want to thank, of course, our fans on Facebook, MBRTV, and on YouTube. Thank you for following these series. We appreciate this. Before we begin, also we want to have a couple of announcements. Tomorrow night we're going to have a public forum at the Somerset Public Library at 6 p.m. This is regarding the report we did on Lake Cumberland, what really lies beneath. We had such an overwhelming phone calls, emails, texts, people trying to get, they want answers, they have concerns, and, I'm about to lose my voice, so we're trying to talk to people. So we're going to have a public forum for that. It's open for anybody, folks in McCreary County, too. You guys swim and boat and everything in Pitney Creek and Lake Cumberland. This should concern you as well. So that's going to be a public forum, again, tomorrow night at the Somerset Public Library, 6 o'clock. Also, we are going to cover this on our regular, we are going back to Monday nights, regular Truth or Politics, this coming Monday night. And I'm telling you right now, I'm probably going to lose my voice. For our regular show, and it's going to be a call-in show, and the topic will be the report we did on Lake Cumberland, what really lies beneath. The call-in number for that's going to be 606-376-5000, 606-376-5000. This will broadcast live in McCreary County and also in Pulaski County. So you folks up there can watch this and call in, and hopefully we'll be able to answer some questions or point you in the right direction about this amazing report. So we are going to get started now. What we'll do is, Mr. Oath King here already knows the rules. We'll give you a 1 minute opening, and then I'll just start asking questions. And we're not going to time anybody because, but go ahead.
Okay, my name is Oath King. Familiar with everybody in Macquarie County. I've been circuit clerk here for 30 years. To the people of Wayne County, I'm going to ask you for your vote in Southern Pulaski. I've been a public servant for 30 years, as I said. I'm not a politician, but I am a public servant. And if I can get your vote and earn your trust, I'll do the very best I can to represent you all. I'll represent everybody and not just an elite few. Thank you.
Okay, question number 1. Please describe your understanding of what the Office of State Representative's job duties consist of, and what are the requirements for this office?
Okay, as far, I actually have not looked that up in a long time. I think you have to be at least 30 years of age, resident of Kentucky for 6 years, I think, beforehand, and pretty much the representative, in order to pass any bills that's going to raise money or revenue, such as any type of taxes and stuff, it has to come from the legislature. It's pretty much just like your fiscal courts in your local area. They run the county, whereas as a representative, you're just like a magistrate on the fiscal court, just at a larger level. And so you're the one that's introducing bills and laws for the Commonwealth. And I think that pretty much covers what you were asking.
Okay. This is kind of a long question, so bear with me for the lead-in, and then I'll ask the question at the end. Politicians and candidates routinely make their presence known at veterans events. Our veterans are some of the best trained individuals in their respective fields of expertise. Yet, when they return home to Kentucky, this expertise is ignored, and they are required to start all over again to obtain certain certifications. For example, a medic that has all the years and years of training and expertise and field experience, even if they have more than a registered nurse requirement in Kentucky, they once they come back to Kentucky, they are now required to start all over as though this experience does not exist. Another example is a former criminal investigator in the military, such as the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division, has actually much more extensive training and experience than anyone graduating from the Kentucky's police academies. Yet they are also ignored and have to start over just to get a basic law enforcement certification in Kentucky. This is a slap to the face of all veterans. This veteran wants to know, will you pledge to pass a law like many other states have, recognizing these credentials and certifications?
Well, I think we should. As a matter of fact, I don't know why we don't do more for our veterans. We got all the freedoms we have because of veterans, and that's just a group of people that it's near and dear to me. My son's a veteran, but if you've already had all the training in the military, and it's compatible to any of the training that's required to hold a job out here, then it should be grandfathered in, or however you would put it, to where you don't have to go back and retrain over something you've already trained for, and be out the expense of doing that. But and the question was so long I've forgotten parts of it, but
That was pretty much it.
oh, okay. But yeah, I really think that a veteran is a young man that has sat there and signed a blank check with his life to go out and give us the freedoms we have. And I think we should do everything we can for them. And if they've already had the training and qualifications they need to hold a job here, then they shouldn't have to have it redone just to hold that job. Thank you.
Okay, here's another long question, I'm sorry. Recently, the Truth or Politics, we completed a thorough investigation into allegations that the Somerset wastewater treatment plant had in fact received numerous serious violations from the state of Kentucky and the state EPA from 2016 to May 2021. We also uncovered the fact that the city of Somerset officials made the decision to bring in from 4 different industrial waste landfills, 2 of these in Tennessee, toxic waste in the amount of approximately 30 million gallons so far, and they have run it through this defective treatment plant. This happened while the state of Kentucky Water District and the state EPA turned a blind eye. We also uncovered that the state of Kentucky and Somerset officials have not and will not agree to test for dangerous toxic chemicals known to be in these landfills in the form of fluorocarbons, which are also known as PFOs, PFOAs, C8, and they're also called forever chemicals for good reason. They don't break down. Recently, 3 separate independent researchers have tested the lakes, rivers, and streams in Kentucky and have published articles that should be very concerning to everyone. In one article, 67% of all lakes, rivers, and streams in Kentucky were contaminated with these dangerous fluorocarbons, and in another article, over 90%. What is your plan at the state level to address this very serious issue?
We have to come up with one because there's already laws on the books, if I'm not mistaken, that you can't pollute the waters of Kentucky. And I don't know if it's how they're getting around it, unless they're just not. I don't know what the rules are for testing the water quality. But if they're not searching for part of that stuff that we're finding in there, then they need to change the rules on it to look for that. It makes you wonder if this is not the reason we have so much cancer around this area. Is from the pollution we have in waterways. And it was a few years ago. I mean, this topic's near and dear to my heart. We went down when they were in Scott County, Tennessee, with their dump down there. It was leaching into Lake Cumberland, Big South Fork, when we were at the same time putting in a water treatment plant or pump to pull water from the lake to supply this county. And we went to several meetings down there being opposed to that. But yeah, I would be for any law we could pass that would help us to clear the water.
Thank you. And by the way, that landfill is one of the landfills, the 4 landfills that they're bringing in this waste from Tennessee and running it through this system up there. Okay, next question. Recently, the voters in McCreary County can no longer go to our local courthouse and get their driver's license renewed. They have to drive to Somerset. This has created a hardship on our citizens. What is your plan at the state level to address this issue?
Well, I really don't know how we would address that. This is something I've dealt with for, well, as a clerk, we issued them in my office for 29 years. And then right after 9/11 hit, they started the Real ID. And that's where all the problems really started with this. Kentucky, they passed it in '05. Kentucky never come into compliance with it and kept pushing it down the road instead of working to fix it at the time. And the problem you have with that is Kentucky is probably the only state that, well, and I know that the circuit driver's license is the only entity that's serviced through two different branches. You have the executive branch, which is the transportation cabinet, and that license are issued to the judicial branch, which is the clerk's offices. A lot of times the two branches don't work well together because when we weren't issuing them, we were an issue agent is what we were called for the transportation cabinet. So they're the ones that decides everything. I really felt, and I don't know this for sure, but they got a huge grant to bring this into compliance, and I think that's when all the problems started. But and they told us everything they're going to do to make it so much better. And a lot of that is stuff we'd asked them to do all along, like online renewing and things like that. But when they voted to take them away from us, gosh, I'm not sure when, but they did it in stages. I know they took them out of our county in July of last year. But they promised us satellite places that they would come in and set them up, and they just haven't lived up to that. They come here in February and did. They come in February, and I actually come over here to the Senior Citizens Building with our county clerk, Eric Haynes, to see if they had what they needed to be able to do the driver's license here. And everything worked out perfect. They were going to set it up for back in February, and Eric was tickled because his was up for renewal. And they filled up. And cut everybody off 2 hours after they announced he's going to do it. And that should have showed them that there's a bigger need for it. But no, they've not even scheduled another one since then. And I think Eric had to wind up going to Frankfurt to get his, but he's one to come with me to help get a facility. And they were tickled with the facility, but they haven't come back. And I don't know what we could do. That's something that it belongs to the Transportation Cabinet. My opponent, who's chair of the Transportation Cabinet, the committee, this bill came out of the committee to take them from the clerk's offices. And then the whole party voted on it. And the only reason I bring that up is because I've been questioned about it a lot, because my opponent's telling everybody that I voted to take them out. We did not have a vote in that. Clerks don't vote for anything. We keep court records. But for a transportation issue, we know where it come from, straight from the Committee of Transportation. But I don't know what could be done to bring them back, but I do know that the fees all went up on them, and there is a transportation department in every county. Every county already has a building. I don't know if they need to set up a temporary trailer to hire a couple of people, put them to work. If they don't want to give them back to the clerks and want to keep them in the transportation cabinet, then set up a place over there at our road department and let people go there to take their test and renew their license and stuff. But I don't know what it is. They're not doing it as a service to the citizens when we have to drive to Somerset to get to be able to renew our license.
Okay. Speaking of cost, recently the cost of filing documents in the clerk's office went up considerably, some from $17 to $70 and up. This is a hardship imposed on all citizens in Kentucky. What is your plan to address this issue?
What I found out over the years, and I used to fuss about it all the time before I ever even thought about running as a representative, but I said every time they meet in Frankfurt, it costs the citizens. And when I started out, court cost was $42. And now, it just as much as $150 for court costs. And what they're doing is they're taking all these extra additional taxes, is what I'm calling them, but they're fees, and the money is earmarked to go to here and there. But anytime that they want to take care of a certain group or a pet project, they dump it on your clerks, your county clerks and your circuit clerks. And what they're not realizing, that money is not going to your county clerks or even to your county, but it's going to Frankfurt so they can divvy it up to wherever they want to send it. And a lot of it's already earmarked to where they're sending it. But they're not on the front line dealing with the citizens that have to face that burden. And the clerks take the heat from it, and they're really just collecting taxes for the state.
Okay. Transparency is a huge issue for Truth or Politics and all news organizations in Kentucky. In 1976, the General Assembly enacted the Open Records Act, KRS 61.870 to KRS 61.884, which establishes the right to access public records. Recently, the state legislature engaged in restricting that access by enacting HB 312, which did in fact weaken the state's Open Records Act in several ways, such as letting the state lawmakers shield themselves from inquiries and blocking information requests from outside of Kentucky. In the almost 12 years that Truth to Politics has been broadcasting, I have submitted over 400 open records requests. In all of that time, I have never requested or received any dates of birth or social security numbers. My question is, what is your plan to increase transparency for your constituents?
Well, I think they need to, the House Bill 312, it's a pretty long bill, and I looked at it, and I really don't think you can be an effective representative for the people if you're trying to hide the way you're voting. And I'm not going to go far and vote. If I vote for something that somebody doesn't approve of, I can stand in front of them and tell them why I voted for it, and we can agree not to agree. But I'm not going to just hide it, and that way I can lie to this one or that one and tell them how I voted and it not be the truth. You've got to have truth and honesty in there, and I don't know why anybody would want it. You're sent to Frankfurt as a representative of the people, by the people. Well, you're by the people because the people elect you. But if you're not letting them see what you're doing up there with transparency, then you're not effectively representing them. So I would like to see it rescinded, or parts of it anyway, that's federal.
Okay. This is a question that I have been told I better ask to every candidate, and I don't know if you can address this or not, because this is more of a local issue, but this is just an issue that people in McCreary County are livid about. We clearly have a littering problem, especially along the roadways. What, if anything, could you do as a state representative to address this problem?
Well, there's laws on the books already against littering, but I don't know what you can do as a state representative. That's really up to the local people. Now, I know that the county attorney's promising to prosecute litterers, but I think we have 109 boards and stuff like that. That's their job to. It's seen a lot, and the people really need to report it. I said it, the pizza place down here, Little Caesars, the other day, waiting on the vehicle in front of me, and actually took a picture of it, but the lady in the back seat of that vehicle threw stuff out the window 3 times while sitting there, and right there in the parking lot. I probably should have got out and went up and said something and asked her to pick it up, but anybody that knows me, if I don't clean my car out once a week, you're not going to be able to get in it, because anytime I've got trash, I'll go on the floor over the back seat. But I just wish people educate them on littering. It's something that needs to be stopped.
Do you believe that all elected officials, especially anyone involved in law enforcement or incarceration, should have to take periodic random drug screenings more than when they just get the job? And what would be your plan to address this issue?
I really haven't given much thought. The drugs are getting to be such a big problem everywhere that I wouldn't be opposed to any mandatory drug screening. Thank goodness I've been never had a problem in my office with drug abuse or anything like that, but I can see it happening. We just getting a generation out there that doesn't see the danger in drugs, and the use of drugs causes a lot of other problems. But yeah, I think individual companies, they've got the right to pass around drug policies and stuff like that. But if it was done to an elected capacity, as far as the elected official, I can't speak for all of them, but I would care to do a drug test. I don't own any elected officials on drugs, but I'm just saying, if it was mandatory for me, I wouldn't care.
Okay. The fact that we do not have a jail has had an adverse effect on this county. What, if anything, could you do as state representative to request or help out in order to change this?
I really don't know what you can do on it. And I was opposed to the jail being closed. I really, and my uncle, who was the judge before that, they argued with him for years trying to get him to close the jail. And he fought to keep it open. And I tried to explain to him our cost would get a lot worse when they closed the jail. And we have to pay somebody to house our prisoners. And that's what happened to us. But when they looked at reopening the jail, the old jail we got would just have to be, it's not even a good location. I think we really should find the funding or somewhere, a grant or something to help us get a jail. Because, well, not everybody that goes to jail is a bad person. And especially their families not. And I used to use my grandma, that if they had, that was when we were going to Knox County now, but when we was going to Letcher County, I said she had a son that if he was in jail in Letcher County, she'd get that on 69 Camaro and head to Letcher County to see him and not need to be on the road. But, you know, when you've got family members there, you want them in your local jail. Or that you know they're safe, that you put them in jail somewhere else. And even if we've got a family member in jail, we still love them. But if you got them in a jail in Strange County and all they're seeing is prisoners from our county, they're not going to give us a good reputation. They're going to think, well, Mayor Warson's crazy, who does this or that. But I really don't like the fact that we don't have a jail. And one of the biggest things a jailer has to deal with is his budget. And another thing he has to fear is wrongfully somebody getting hurt in his jail or get sick and he doesn't have a treatment. He has to worry at that time about a lawsuit. Well, if you send your prisoners to another jail, then you're the one paying the medical. All they've got to do is get caught, and that jailer's not going to take a chance. He's going to send them to the doctor, and the county's going to pick up even more medical bills. So it's an expense that we're going to have to find out how to get a jail, where we're going to get the funding for it. And I really just think we have to have a jail in this county. It would ease a lot of our problems. I was against it ever being closed. And once it got closed, they jumped on it real quick and said it couldn't be open again.
Here's another one that you may or not be able to pass laws or do something, but I've got to ask these questions because I've got like tons of you know, emails, you name it, people saying, you better ask every candidate about this. We also have a loose dog problem, not only here in the county, but apparently statewide. Is there anything that you as state representatives can do to address this issue?
That's an issue, I think, that's done at your local level with ordinances and things like that. I don't think that leash laws or something like that is at the state level. I think it's a local level that has to address that.
Okay. We have covered all my questions, and what we'd like to do now is just give you an opportunity to look at the camera and give a closing remark. And you can go back on any of these that you feel that you want to add to or whatever. It's your time, and you got as much time as you want to do a closing remark.
Okay. Well, actually, she's overwhelming with the length of some of them questions. But, again,
I can read them again.
My name is Othel King. and I am running for 52nd State Representative, and I appreciate your vote out there. Remember, May 17th, please vote for Othel King. Thank you.
Folks, again, tomorrow night in Somerset, if you care about Lake Cumberland, please show up. It doesn't matter if you live in Pulaski County or not, if you live in surrounding counties. This will be posted on YouTube for everybody to see. Please come. It's Friday night, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. at the Somerset Public Library. This is regarding the special report we did. And folks, please go watch it. Especially, I know part 1's more interesting, but part 2 shows all the documents. We had over 1,000 documents. We only showed 117 of them that back up this story, that we have proven up that this has happened. It is a fact that this has happened. We're just waiting for responses. And by the way, we sent a letter to the State Water District over a month ago asking them to respond, and what we have so far is crickets. So that shows how the State Water District cares about this. Apparently not enough to even respond to it. So, but please go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's called Lake Cumberland, What Really Lies Beneath. And yes, go ahead.
I was just wondering if I could add one thing.
Sure.
It wasn't a question, and it wasn't brought up, which I'm surprised because I'm hearing about it a lot out the public.
Yeah, go ahead. Look at the camera.
I'm surprised nothing was brought up about education, and education's near and dear to my heart. My parents were teachers. I was actually going to be a teacher, but for years at my office, we never got a raise because we're in the judicial branch, and it's of course the legislative branch decides who gets the raises, executive branch, but it has to be funded through the legislative branch. But this year, which I was retiring anyway, but I probably went 8 years without a raise. I was going to get 8% increase this year, which is a wonderful increase. Before, one year I think we got a 1% increase. And then you look at it, and everybody across the board in the state of Kentucky gets a raise this year, except teachers. And why we leave our teachers out, I don't understand. That was one of the reasons I wound up not being a teacher after going to school to become one. I took a job with a factory that summer and made twice as much money as I would have as a teacher. And we're losing good people that are not going to go into the profession of teaching because of the cost. They come out there with huge student loans that they have to pay off, and then the pay, it's just not worth it. And what they're doing, we're looking for people that's going to teach our kids and our grandkids, and we want the best and brightest doing that, and you're not going to get that if you're not paying them. And I support teachers 100%. And that is one promise I can make. If I go to Frankfurt, I will be a voice for the teachers, because I've always been a voice. I've never asked anything while a circuit clerk, and there were several circuit clerks out there that felt the same way I did. We never pushed for raises for us. We pushed for raises for our employees the whole time I was up there. And we were the lowest paid in the courthouse there for a long time, but I would like to be that voice to try to help teachers be better recognized at the state level. Thank you.
I should have asked a question about that.
It's come up a lot on the campaign.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, and Monday night, again, folks, we will be our regular Truth or Politics Monday night. It will be a call-in show, and you folks up there in Pulaski County can call in, or anywhere that watches the show. It will be live. Please give us a few minutes to do our, our opening remarks and stuff. And for new people, I'm going to do a little opening. So wait until about 6:15 or so before you guys start calling in, okay? And again, it's number 606-376-5000. That'll be Monday night. So thank you, Mr. King, for showing up. And folks, this is the last one for a while, and then we're going to have until this fall. And this fall we'll have just a couple of debates. I think there's only 2 debates this fall we'll have. But this is the primary debate season, and we appreciate all the candidates who had the guts to show up and answer your questions, we the people's questions. It took a lot of courage to do that. So big round of applause for all the candidates who showed up, and we thank them very much, and we will see you next time on Truth or Politics. Thanks.
Thank you.